that no amendment, and the second half of this sentence says, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Well, when the 17th Amendment, removed the Senate, it changed what the Senate is. There was no provision to change the Senate into a popular vote body from a state choosing
you are right about that.
Senators. So we don't have any lawful treaties in the first place. And I'm sorry, but that's what the Constitution says.
Although the Supreme Court will not agree with you because they will act on treaty and the enforcement of that. But you are correct. The Republic died when they passed the 17th Amendment. Benjamin Franklin said in a question that was asked him, so what do you have? And he says, a republic, if you can keep it. Mm-hmm. And the problem is we have not kept it. And Tom, what you just said is very true. We have lost our republic, but we're fighting tooth and toenail to defend what's left of it, and to regain it.
Yeah, I think it's what goes to what Mr. Trump said just within the last few days, is that, there's some states that are, they're not very, they're just spendthrifts, and other states that are well-run, and the states that are well-run are being punished by the spendthrift states. And I think that goes a lot to the Senate, to the nature of the Senate nowadays.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, my issue with the Senate, too, always comes back to the gutlessness of the Republicans who control the Senate, and they won't go. Why can't we go back to 51 votes? That's all I'm asking. I want a clear-cut answer from somebody. Why can't we go back to 51 votes?
It's a Senate rule that they established to keep the minority to have more power than the Founding Fathers wanted to give the minority.
I keep thinking of the movie Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition,
Well, it's more than tradition in my view. This is an absolute act of defiance to the Founding Fathers. It should take 60 votes or 51 votes. 60 votes was required by the Senate for a very important thing, the ratification of a treaty or the changing of the Constitution. Why is it that we have used that to take away the majority's power? It's absolutely un-American. But we're getting used to un-American.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the Senate for the last, 2 decades at least, maybe longer now, not even pass budgets. I mean, they're so pathetic and inept. It is crony, whatever you want to call it, but it's a disgrace. And I look at a guy like Mitch McConnell and the other Republicans who fail to push him to go back to 51 votes as complete losers. Every one of them, gutless. And I would love to see all of them thrown out of office. If you don't support going back to 51 votes, you're worthless in my book. You are a coward because you're not getting anything done in this country. We've seen Tim Walberg on last week, right? Or the week before. Yeah. The House has passed, over the last 8 years, 9 years, 400, 500 bills that go to the Senate and die because nobody has the guts to bring them to the floor and vote on the dang things.
What's his name? The previous Senate Majority Leader, doggone the Democrat.
Harry Reid.
Harry Reid. When he was, when the Democrats controlled the Senate under Obama, it was actually his protocol strategy. Thank you, to block all budget resolutions coming from the House to the Senate, so that they had to do the continuing resolution thing.
And he would say it. He openly admitted it.
So that way they could avoid the constitutional budgeting process by not doing what they're supposed to do and still look like they're doing what they're supposed to do.
And the outcome of that, by the way, folks, has given China a leg up on America, because that outcome of that is a higher debt ratio than we should be carrying with our national debt, which continues to expand. And the only remedy to that is sell those treasury bills to China.
Yeah. So that they can.
And other countries.
Yeah. Well, Tom, great call, man.
I think the juries nowadays are ignorant, and they're being cowed by judges who really, really don't have the best interest of the people at heart.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Thank you for your call, Tom.
Yeah, great call, Tom. Appreciate it, man. I love having great listeners. Thanks for the call. Okay, so we got Joe from Ann Arbor. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Yeah. I just want to comment and say to Dennis, from all of us at the Willow Run Tea Party, we want to just express our gratitude with the leadership you have provided us and insight. And, you've taught us many lessons with your vast knowledge on history. And we all hope that you had a great time, you and Linda, last night at your final and fond farewell meeting. And we hope you the best of wishes in South Carolina.
Joe, I want to tell you something. I'm a big man. I've got broad shoulders, and I don't cry.
He's about to cry.
But last night I cried, and even right now there's tears in my eyes because of what I said before. We do things because we love. I love the people of the Willow Run Tea Party Caucus. I love Tony's story. I love what motivates us. And we have decided that it is the Lord's will that we move to South Carolina. It's one of the toughest things that Linda and I have ever had to do. We've been here 20 years. We have been in our house 20 years. We've been in this place since we were both very young. And it's hard. Thank you, Joe. That is such an encouragement. Last night was awesome beyond my belief.
The best of wishes, Dennis. And you have got a motivation, a sincerity, a drive that I have never seen. It is totally hard to match.
Your check's in the mail, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the call. Take care.
Hey, I got a Tony story. Years ago, my son and I were sitting at the diner, and I was telling him about something I wrote on my blog, and he says, "Dad, you're so political. What does this bother about? What are you bothered about? And I says, hold on a second. I had Tony come over, and I had Tony sit down next to us and tell us your story, Tony. And that's the kind of story, like you said, the kind of story that will get you involved.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Those are the stories that really, that's like this flag, right, that you guys last hour were looking at when you said the Pledge of Allegiance. You know where this flag here came from? That was one of my first shows, I think, of the first year. There was an immigrant, Sant Margos, right, who was here for a period of time. I don't think it worked out that he wanted to stay in America so badly. Had him come into the show. He kind of did a wine column for the newspaper way back in the day. And he brought that flag for the show.
Immigrants make the best
and we
patriots.
put it up. He loved this country so much. He wanted to stay so bad. And things worked out. His company was like, no, you got to go back, blah, blah, blah. And they couldn't work it out for him. He was shattered. He still listens to the show. I see Italy stuff and Facebook stuff from him, where he's. But he loved this country so bad, and that flag right there is from him, and it's still hanging.
Good to know.
6 years
Thank
later,
you.
that flag is still hanging behind me here. So
that's called inspiration.
That is, and so don't say that we're anti-immigrant or anything else, because we're not. We love legal immigrants, and this guy here loved his country, loved this country, and wanted to stay and couldn't. So he left. He did the legal thing and has yet to be able to get back.
There's something I'd want to say, Gary. We even love illegal immigrants, but there's consequences to your action. In this country today, there's no scarlet letter. We haven't told anybody that it's bad behavior becomes impugned. They can do it without consequence. I love illegal immigrants. I've been victimized, I say, by illegal Mexican labor, but the Mexicans who come here to do that labor, no lazy ones came. The lazy ones stayed home. And I got to tell you, the good people, they just have to suffer the consequence of their action. It was illegal to enter this country. And there'll be a long debate about immigration and what we should do, comprehensive. It's never a good thing just to make it okay. But we will determine what's going to be the outcome of that. But I love people.
Yeah,
I love those people.
And what it comes down to is securing the border. Let's stop the hemorrhaging, right? Let's get the border secure, whether it's a wall, a fence, the security, the drones, more officers, whatever combination of that. I had some young guy ask me about why is Trump building this 30-foot wall? It's away, so just build 35-foot ladders to get over it. It's not the wall, as he talks about, is a combination of all these things. In the middle of that river, you can't put a wall either, you doughhead. So when we talk about
so you put
the
patrol
wall,
boats with Browning Kells,
it's the idea of securing our border, for crying out loud, to stop. Because when Reagan did the amnesty way back in the 80s, we may have had 5 million people in the country illegally, right? Now we're probably 20 plus, easy.
It was a mistake of the heart that our president made at that time.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing it out of his heart. Because you know what? He loved people, too.
Yeah.
He was a good man.
Let me say, Donald Trump has done something that Mitt Romney was going to try to do. And folks know that I supported Mitt and got to go on tour with him a couple of times. And I told him while the cameras were on and people were actually listening, and Mitt appeared to be listening to me, and I think he was. I said, Mitt, what your policies, what you're getting ready to do is going to cause the illegals problem to go away. And he says, why is that? I said, because you won't have to build a bridge. Mexico will. And how is that? Well, your program on E-Verify is going to be so effective that they will have to go back home, and Mexico will build a bridge to keep them from coming back.
The wall, yeah.
Or the wall. I'm sorry, I got the bridge. Mexico will build the wall to keep them from coming back. And the thing is that Mexico gains big time economically from folks here.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're dogging.
Yeah, and
Sucking
what people
dollars
don't
right out of
understand
here.
is, being in the construction, I used to be in the construction industry. I got chased out of painting. I got chased out of drywall. I got chased out of carpenter. I got chased out of
You were a drywall guy.
landscaping. Oh, yeah, I got chased out of all. And it's happening.
It
I
is.
mean, you used to be able to
hate
make a living
drywall.
as a construction guy in this country with the trades. You cannot any longer. And that's the real problem. You're hurting American jobs, whether they want to admit it or not.
Folks, you need to understand, folks that are listening to this, we love these people. But the policy that gives them false hope, I hate, and I hate it with a passion. We need to have better immigration policies in this country, but we cannot refuse to put the scarlet letter of consequence on people's bad actions.
Yeah.
There's a double-edged sword to this also. You no longer, well, say we lost construction jobs, okay, to other people. We say, well, the work's still getting done. But the wages are suppressed, for one, and two, the money that they earn doesn't stay in the community.
Yeah. It's a loss
Like
of
you're saying.
it's a loss of GDP.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the
that money is
dichotomy.
going back to Mexico, just like in one wave of immigration, it went back to Italy. You're supporting your family back home. Well, how about you support the shopkeepers in this country, the people who are making other stuff that you need to buy in this country?
The dichotomy at the heart of the Republican Party right now and the split is this that we're talking about. It is the Chamber of Commerce who wants no borders. It is the big money folks in the Republican Party. God bless them. They earned it and they have it. I would like some of it, but I'd like to earn it. But they want cheap labor. Mm-hmm. The Chamber of Commerce, the established Republican part of our party, is at odds with the constitutional Tea Party folks because we want to protect the identity of our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a constitutional identity.
And
Once
that's why the
again-
Republican Party is so fractured. I mean, it really is.
It is.
Once again, the glue that is supposed to hold this country together is the social compact that we have. A social compact is a contract, just like the Mayflower Compact. People said, look, this is what we're going to do, and this is going to govern us, and this is how we're going to stay together as a community. On a national level, we have the United States Constitution. It's the glue that's supposed to hold us together so we can all refer back to, okay, we play by those rules. Those are the rules. And since we've gotten away from those rules, we see the country fracture more and more because you can't call on even the Supreme Court to judge rightly what that document says, which is their job, not to make rules, but to say whether some of the other rules that are made follow those guidelines.
The Supreme Court also needs to understand, if they don't, they're real educated people, and I'm a drywall guy, but I'm going to educate them on something. You brought up the Mayflower Compact. These people contracted with their lives and their fortune a ride to America. Mm-hmm. What were they leaving? What were they leaving from? Well, there's a history on that. A lot of it had to do with Islam. But these people, in the wording of the Mayflower Compact, you read it. Get out your computer and read it.
Yep.
For the furtherance of Christianity, we embark on this voyage.
Yeah.
That was contract.
Yep.
Nobody's going to tell me what the mind of the people were who came here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Christianity tolerance allows the love that we have because we were loved to extend that love to other faiths and other people.
Yep.
That's what America is. And this isolationism on every man wants to be an island, I can't be offended or I'm going to take a knee. Well, I got something to say about this fellow who wants to take a knee during the national anthem. There was a lot of knees taken that weren't willing to be given. People fell in favor of that flag. And I will never cease to speak about those who have served our country that have to be in the face of a protest of a misinformed Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
He's misinformed. I respect his right to do what he does, but don't touch the people who have fallen in favor. And he says he's not. Yes, he is. He just doesn't care that he doesn't know.
Well, like I said, there's two things. Look, if you do not show the proper respect, for instance, you're speaking right now, I didn't interrupt you. If I'd interrupted you, that would have shown disrespect for you, right? You're talking. People want to listen to you. And yet, if my phone had gone off, I forgot to turn my phone off. If I took that call it's not I'm not trying to